All right. Welcome. We back again, once again, time and time again, my friends. You know what it is. Monday, November the 14th, I do believe. We getting it popping. Just going a quick, brief overview of what the market has for us in store and possible directions that it may head over the next few days. So every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I will be doing a live stream in between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you are subscribed so you get tuned in for that. And when you are subscribed, make sure you turn the post notifications on. That way you get updated anytime I do go live or post any educational content on this channel here. But with all due said, let's get right into it. So we start off with XAU USD from the monthly time frame. Yep. My boy J Money in the building, got his post notifications turned on. But on the monthly time frame of XAU USD, we've had previous structure resistance, support, broken below, came back, retest, rejected to the downside, and from there we came into this other level of previous structure resistance that was currently stopping the market before it came to this level right up in here, and then exploded to the upside that is acting as the major support level of this overall structure. So we've had this big run up here, and we haven't had a retest of this area since we have previously gotten it close to being touched and retested right around this area. And since then, we've had a huge explosion to the upside on the monthly time frame of XAU USD, exploding to the upside. Now let's drop down on the weekly time frame, and on the weekly, you can see that we are seeing more of the same. As pointed out from previous live streams, we're starting to create some sort of pattern like this in here, where if we do get a retest to come retest this neckline of this pattern, which is a W pattern that completes 80 to 90% of the time, that is highly likely that we want to see that happen, and then a more continuation to the upside. Now, on the monthly, we were starting to make this move up. On the weekly, we are starting to make moves to the upside, and on the daily, we have been creating and breaking structure on our way to the upside as well. So we had a level of structure right in here that we broke to the upside, found a pause, broke it to the upside, found another pause, and we're starting to just create and break structure on our way to the upside as of right now. Now, the most probable place that the market should come into, or we would like to see the market come into for possible entries for more continuation to the upside after we've had this impulse, is previous structure. So we've had previous structure resistance right in here that should be retested as support, and we should see the trend continue to the upside as long as we are continuing to the upside, and that is XAU USD. XAG USD from the monthly time frame. We spoke about this one several times as well. Just really consistent previous structure resistance, now acting as support over here on this side. It's not going to be exact. Yes, we did have a few closes below. We started to break above, reject around some of these areas right in here. But for the most part, just keeping it real simple and consistent is previous structure resistance, broken to the upside. The next time we come and retest that same area from the upside, we can expect it to be acting as support. And just from there, we could see possible moves away from that area. On the monthly, we are starting to get a lot of buying pressure, bullish pressure to the upside. And if we do drop down to the weekly, you can see that we've had this sort of W formation right in here, where if we do get some sort of retracement from a weekly standpoint, we could then still be looking for continuations to the upside. We'd have a little makeshift left shoulder, just a previous level in the market that we were failing to break below, broke below it. Then we finally ran back above that area, come back, retested. You don't want to see that level be broke below, which would be the right shoulder. And if we do drop down to the daily time frame, you can see we are starting to break and create structure to the upside as well. So on these commodities, we will see some of the same things, as they are somewhat correlated, and we are just starting to create and break structure to the upside. We can just go ahead and continue with this trend from the daily time frame. Now that we are on from here, we've had previous structure resistance in here. We've had multiple levels or attempts, movements down to the downside, but technically we still have the impulse continuing itself on its way up. So once this impulse ends, if we do get a retracement back down to some of these levels, a possible continuation to the upside could be highly likely. XBT USD monthly time frame. On the monthly, we were speaking about this for quite some time, and it is lining up just perfectly as you'd like to see, just for more continuation to the upside. On the monthly, we had several levels that we wanted to see break and close above. We started to get those, so we can just look for more continuation to the upside as it is on the monthly right now. From the weekly, we did get this move all the way up, and we know you can't move in one direction forever. Some retracement is due in order for the market to continue going up. So it would be nice to go ahead and see the market come back and retest some of these levels as we do have some of the same things we've already seen. Just a nice and easy move up, just market trend, real and nice and easy. Market could come back to previous structure resistance, now acting as support for more continuation to the upside. Dropping down to the daily time frame. As we are right now, the market is sitting at right about here, which right in this area is previous structure resistance that should act as support once again. Now this one could be very interesting as you would like to see it from a daily time frame. Real nice and easy continued trend, not break structure to the downside, creating a bearish environment on the daily time frame. But you know, we do have this level down in here that is lining up that you could possibly see the market come into for some retracements, deep retracements, in order to continue to the upside. But just simply from a daily time frame standpoint, you have previous structure resistance that should act as support, and you should see more continuation to the upside until the market shows you otherwise. US oil from the monthly time frame, still playing around this area. We still have previous structure resistance, broken to the upside, came back for a retest, now acting as support. You just want to simply see it act as support until we start to see some real break closes, retest to this level, and then moves away from this level. Simply on the monthly time frame. So since we are somewhere sitting around this area, but we've had 2 attempts to make moves higher and we've been rejected both times. From the monthly, it looks like we are in a bit of indecision as we are trapped in between these levels right in here. What can we identify from the weekly? From the weekly, you can see that we've had a level of resistance right in here that's acted not only once but twice and thrice. So a very, very strong level. And then as well, we've also had this level down in here that's acted as support right in here, then broken to the downside, acted as resistance, broken to the upside, acted as support once again, and now the market is coming into that level from above once again, where it may act as some support. If we do look from the daily time frame though, from the daily, we are starting to get a nice and easy impulse to the downside, come back to retest the left shoulder. This is the left shoulder I'm speaking about. We have the head here, and then we do have the right shoulder that we do not want to see break above any of the left shoulder, and we are starting to get the move to the downside, lining up perfectly for just a TMCP, nice and easy impulse to the downside, come back, retest previous structure broken to continue the trend. So we could see more continuations to the downside on US oil, just to go ahead and complete this pattern, and then after that it could possibly put it into a bearish trend from just higher time frame perspective. So that could be the move. Going further from that, after this impulse, next impulse gets completed, we could see or look for more impulses to the downside. Now on the Forex market, Euro USD, as previously spoken about from the monthly time frame, we are retesting previous structure support right in this area, now acting as resistance, or should act as resistance. So we could expect the market to start to show some relief from this area. If we do drop down to the weekly time frame though, on the weekly we do have a very aggressive move to the upside coming from last week. We still have our previous structure right in here that is acting as resistance, not only once here. We are starting to get a little bit of it here. We did have a little bit of retracement, a move to the downside. And then if we do drop down to the daily time frame, you can see we are quite overextended to the upside, and then we do have a candle that within the next hour and a half, just about, if it closes like it is now, you would like to see more continuation to the downside for the next candles to come fill in the wick, which would line us up perfect for a nice DP1 where we do have move to the downside, move up, move back down. You do want to see the market come into that neckline for more continuations to the upside. So just playing off the fact that this is very strong monthly support and resistance, a very strong structure area, we could expect some relief, some resistance, some type of just exhaustion to come from this very aggressive move to the upside. So that is the play that I will be playing for going into this week, or just necessarily the next couple of days. Now if we do look at GBP USD from a monthly time frame perspective, some of the same things, these pairs are correlated. Once again, keep that in mind. We do have previous structure support that should act as resistance right in here. Even though we are very aggressively moving to the upside, we also have a nice and easy impulse to the downside, where you would like to see the retracement at least come retest previous structure broken before we continue to the downside. But that is the monthly time frame. But just as we are right now, we're just sitting right at structure. Once again, from the weekly time frame, you can see that we did have a move to the upside, breaking and creating structure, breaking and creating structure. If the market does want to show us some sort of retracement, the best logical place the market would come to before it makes a decision on where it wants to go to next is right around this area, which is previous structure resistance. That should now act as support, just simple market structure, the way that the market is currently, where we could see the market come into this level and continue to the upside, or possibly come into this level, break down and put us in a nice left shoulder, head, right shoulder type of situation. We could see more continuation to the downside. So really going into the daily time frame, what I'm looking for is just a little bit of move down, move up, move down, move up, a nice completion at the neckline, which is a pattern that completes 80 to 90% of the time on all time frames. So keep that in mind as well. A nice DP1 to the downside to go ahead and complete that pattern could be possible. AUD USD monthly time frame. I want to see the monthly come into some of these levels, as it is a magnet to the price. It's been there once. Price could come in there again because there are probably some orders, big orders sitting in that level. But as we are currently sitting on most of these pairs, which they are correlated, they will be showing some of the same things. Previous structure support, now turned resistance, should act as resistance over on this side, and that is from the monthly time frame. If we do look at the weekly, on the weekly we have a very aggressive move to the upside, coming to retest the last candle that wasn't of the same color on this move to the downside. So this was a fairly nice and easy or predictable move that was going to happen. All these candles to the downside coming back for a retracement. It might be easy, or it is fairly easy for the market to go ahead and engulf some of those candles on the way back up as well, because there wasn't any candles of structure in there. But now we've reached this level that is previous structure support that should now act as resistance. There could be a possible exhaustion or relief from there. And if we do drop down to the daily time frame, what we can see is that we do have the market setting up nicely. Oops, I didn't mean to get all those. We do have the market setting up nicely. Come on. We do have the market setting up nicely after this impulse to the upside, breaking previous structure resistance, coming in this area, coming back for a retracement, where to previous structure that was broken, for a possible continuation to the upside if the market wants to do that. But as it is from the monthly time frame, until we break this level, we could expect more bearishness to go ahead and make moves to the downside. But just to play back down, another DP1 to the downside could be possible. USD CAD monthly time frame, extremely bullish from the monthly. We are above some structure, so technically we are still bullish, but as it is, you can't go in one direction forever. We need the retracement to come in order for the market to continue trend. We are coming right into previous structure resistance that should act as support, once again, as a magnet to the price. If we do drop down, to the weekly time frame, you can see that we do have a nice and easy M pattern from the weekly time frame. Move up, move down, move up, move down. I want to see the market come back and retest some of these levels to complete the pattern that does complete 80 to 90% of the time. But we still have a little ways to go before the market taps into some of these areas. So it could be a quick fake out, move to the upside, then we come retest these areas and then come back to complete that pattern. But if we look at the daily time frame, you can see that we are bearish on the daily time frame. So moves to the upside as it is right now are not that likely. We have previous structure support right in this area, still holding the market underneath it. So we could possibly get another dip down into these areas before we start to see the market change over and start to break and create structure to come back and retest just some of these levels right here at least, and then that could give us the momentum you need to see the market to go ahead and create a higher high above to continue the trend from just a monthly time frames standpoint. NZD USD monthly time frame, once again, previous structure support right in this area, came back, retested it again from the upside. It would act as support once again. We are starting to see that bounce, and the market moved into where previous structure support now turned resistance. It is a magnet to the price, There are a lot of orders sitting on those levels. So once you can identify what market structure looks like, that would be a lot more easier for you to identify or determine where the next logical place the market is going to go to is. But if we look at NZD USD from a weekly time frame perspective, you can see that we have had a very aggressive move to the upside. And if the market does go ahead and continue to break these structure levels, then we could possibly see more continuations to the upside. But as it is right now, nice and easy retracement could be expected, possibly to come retest some of these lows down in here, as we do have one of these patterns that does complete 80 to 90% of the time. But technically, by the rules and standards that we use, this isn't one that we would like to see go ahead and complete at the neckline, but a retracement is in order. So some sort of relief is due. And if we do drop down to the daily time frame, you can see that we've had previous structure resistance right in this area that the market should come into, or has a very high likelihood of coming into, before either continuing to the upside or possibly making more moves to the downside after it is broken. So there's just a logical place the market is next headed to from a daily time frame standpoint, as long as the candles probably do close like they are within the next hour, 15 hour and 17 minutes. We can slide down to USD CHF from the monthly time frame. Now we are getting a very aggressive move to the downside on USD CHF. Straight away from talking about the most common pattern in the market on this, I'm gonna probably do it a couple more times because it is a perfect display even on the monthly time frame. If you have been watching the live streams for a while, we've seen a lot of these candles be bearish all the way down here, then continue to grow and be bullish, making moves all the way up, completing just simply the most common pattern in the market on all time frames as well. But as it is right now on the monthly time frame of USD Swiss, we are starting to get a very aggressive move to the downside. So from there, what do you expect after you've had a move to the upside where we found a level in the market we didn't break above? Then we finally did break above that and immediately come back into the zone. You can expect the market to come back for just what is the most common pattern in the market, which would be a retracement. Where would it most likely come to? Previous structure broken. In most instances, this is about the left shoulder, and it would possibly be the right shoulder as well, as this was the previous structure broken to the upside, and then what was supposed to act as support got immediately broken through. So this level is very, very important as far as the big banks and institutions are concerned. And that's all from the monthly time frame. So when this monthly impulse ends and the retracement starts, if we look at the weekly time frame, who knows if it's going to start this week. We've had a little push up, but we've been rejected from these moves to the upside, but we are sitting at previous structure support as well. So we could expect a bounce out of this area. And if we do drop down to the daily time frame, you can see we are very aggressively moving to the downside, impulsing to the downside, where if we do get some sort of relief in this area, we could look for possible moves to the downside for trend continuation. USD JPY from the monthly time frame, very aggressively moving to the upside, still bullish, still above some previous structure resistance that should act as support. So just from a market structure standpoint, this pair is bullish, but you can't move in one direction forever. We need the market to ebb and flow. We need it to impulse and retrace, exhaust, give us some sort of relief in order to continue the direction and the trend that the market is currently headed. But as we are right now in the weekly time frame, we've identified this level as possibles or high probability areas the market will come into. At the end of last week, the market came right into that area. Since then, we have started the little bit of a retracement, which is due in order to continue to the downside. But from a daily time frame standpoint, we are very, 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 very bearish, as we've broken below several levels of structure that we would need to see broken above before we start to look for possible buy opportunities again. Even though we are bullish on the monthly, we are bearish on the weekly and the daily as well. So what you could possibly look for is possible moves or retracements into this area, and then if the proper retracement presents itself, then we could possibly look for continuations to the downside, just as the market is now. But honestly, what I would be waiting for is until this level is broken to the downside where the market is currently sitting. I would be waiting for the market to break and create some structure to the upside to give me an opportunity to play off the monthly bullishness and trend continuation, since the monthly is sitting right at previous structure resistance that should act as support. So there's that. Now let's slide down to BTC USD from the monthly time frame. What are we looking at? On the monthly, we have previous structure resistance right in this area. You want to see acting as support. We've had 1, 2. The market has dipped down into this level very aggressively, not saying that it is going to continue to the downside or the bounce can't happen from here. We just have to wait for the candle to close. Now, if we look at the weekly time frame, you can definitely say that the weekly is bearish. We are in this zone, and there's not really any points looking for buys because we are below so many levels of structure just from a weekly time frame perspective as well. Let me clear this up just a little bit. On the weekly, we did have a very aggressive move and close to the downside, breaking below that 18,000 level that was holding price. A lot of people were banking on that level, actually holding. A lot of people were buying at that level as well, but as you can see, we've broken and closed below that level. And if we do drop down to the daily time frame, what we identified on Friday was that we wanted to see the market at least give some relief before we started to see the continuation to the downside. And as it is right now, we are starting to make moves to the downside after we've had that little relief, little exhaustion. Would ideally like to see it a little bit deeper, but technically it came back into what was probably previous structure support right in this area from the wicks down to be previous or current structure resistance. So you could expect the market to continue to the downside from these levels. And from there, could possibly look for more retracements and continuations to the downside until the market shows otherwise. So until we start to break some of these levels to the upside from at least a daily time frame perspective, there's no point in really looking for buys. Honestly, the market is extremely bearish. So until shown otherwise, the trend is your friend. Listen to the market. Now, that's pretty much it on what we go through, on how we sum it up. Just nice and easy, go through the majors, a little Bitcoin, a little commodities. But is there anything anybody else wants me to look at? Any pairs, possible plays for this week? I don't see too much. Jay Staff, I appreciate you hopping in the chat, my boy. And that's going to wrap it up. Remember, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in between 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. and 4 p.m., excuse me, we are doing a live stream, GBP NZD. Let's take a look. So from the monthly time frame, on the monthly, it's really, you wanted to see the market stop. I think the last time we did a full market breakdown, we were above this level. You want to see the market stop in this level and continue to the upside, and that's just from a monthly time frame perspective. But as it is right now, we have what would be a level in the market that we failed to break above, finally broke above, come back immediately into the zone. What you really would ideally wait for is from a monthly time frame perspective as well. Keep that in mind. We have previous structure resistance over here that now retested from the underneath side, should act as resistance once again and could look for possible continuations to the downside. So we are moving to the downside on the monthly time frame. There's that. And if we look at the weekly time frame, what you can see is the market did have some consolidation to the upside. So we created a little bit of levels in here, broke to the downside, came back to retest those levels, and then we could look for possible continuations to the downside, as that would provide us with a level in the market here, level in the market here, move to the downside, could possibly give us a level in the market underneath some of these weekly candles that we could bounce off and look for continuations as well. Now dropping down to the daily time frame, all we can really expect from here is after this impulse, you need to see some sort of retracement for the next impulse to continue. So almost might be a little too late for us to try to apply some TMCP1s on this one, maybe possibly Friday or going into Sunday. Looking for those could have possibly been some plays, but as it is now, it's kind of a little bit too close to these lows. You kind of want to get in above some of these areas right when the next impulse starts, just so we're not trapped by previous structure support acting as support again and getting rejected out of there. At least have an opportunity to go risk free. But after this plays out, I would like to see possible moves to the downside. Impulsing, come back, retest some structure, then more continuations to the downside, where this area here could be possible plays. You could look to get for some entries. Oh yeah, I think I missed it. Right. You own it, man. You own it. You in there. But yeah, other than that, not really too much going on. Any other pairs? Once again, we will be back on Wednesday, and this is just a brief one, just to, look for some directions. If you are in the program, then you'll understand what TMCP 1s, 2s, DP 1s are. You'll know those from the breakdowns. Appreciate you. You all good, my boy. But once again, if you do want to learn the strategies that we use over here, check the link in the description. Everything is provided there. A few strategies for you to take advantage of to actually understand the market and navigate with some clarity, know what you're actually doing. But with that said, I appreciate everybody for jumping in, and we'll be back. Hope you all are having a profitable day on and off the charts. And until next time.